They promised that they wouldn't do this to millions of Americans here at home, but hey, promises are meant to be broken, right? Remember when they told us that the thousands of new hires for the IRS wasn't going to tax the average American?
A bill passed by the House would take back billions of dollars from the IRS. All 7 Republicans from our state voted for it. Some still bring up one big number that a tax expert from NC State says is false.
They're playing to their audience. They're playing to the people that they think will help get them elected.
No, an army of 87,000 IRS agents is not coming to audit you. We checked the facts on that in both August and October. But House Republicans passed a bill this week that would slash billions in funding for the IRS. In doing so, they brought up that number again on social media.
Many of these representatives ran on campaigns to do just what they did on Monday with voting to remove the $80 billion in additional funding.
What the 87,000 actually refers to is how many employees the IRS would like to hire over 10 years if it had the money. The Treasury Department says those new hires would replace workers who retired, improve customer service, or fight high-end tax evasion.
They reported this all over, right? Like, don't worry, these billions of dollars to fund the IRS won't have them taxing the heck out of the average American who are already struggling. All they want to do is tax the rich. Now, I've done videos on this thing like a year ago, and you know what I said? Chances are they don't tax the rich. Instead, they're going to tax people making less than $400,000 per year. And what did IRS Commissioner Danny Warfeld just say recently? He said that there was a chance that Americans making less than that amount are going to be hit by this too. And well, there you have it, guys, because even though they didn't tell you that this is happening, the mere fact that they said that it is possible is basically the same thing as confirming it. It's like a yes or no question, right? Now, on that note, let me ask you one of those questions. Do you think that the IRS, with all of that money and the thousands of new IRS agents, do you think that they're going to go after people making less than $400,000? Drop a quick yes or no on that one in the comment section down below. And while you guys are at it, drop a quick like for the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on all notifications so that you don't miss out on your daily dose of the truth. Appreciate the support, you guys. So getting back on topic here, do you remember what the White House said about all of this?
We're going to make a historic investment in the IRS to make sure that the wealthiest Americans that use complicated accounting and lawyering techniques to avoid paying taxes, that we're going to crack down on that as well. And I want to add, we're doing all of that, notwithstanding some of the misinformation that's out there. We're doing all of that without raising taxes at all on anybody making less than $400,000 a year. As you know, that was a commitment that the president made, and he's making good on that commitment with this legislation.
So I guess we can rest easy now, right? The White House is confirming that these new agents will not be coming after your money. They're after the rich folks who avoid taxes through their lawyers. Okay, sure. But wait, I was talking about promises being broken, right? So where does that come in?
So you've previously stated the IRS would not target taxpayers earning below $400,000 per year. How can we be sure that the new IRS agents and tax enforcement resources will not go to targeting middle-class taxpayers and small businesses?
I appreciate the question. We publish our audit rates each year, and you can assess those audit rates by income level. So it's a very transparent way of being held accountable that the audit rate for people earning less than $400,000 will not increase.
So you are guaranteeing that you will not increase the number of audits of people making less than $400,000
That is my marching order to the IRS, and if we fall short of that, I will be held accountable for it, but we will publish those rates.
I noticed before you said your marching orders, and a little while ago you said you had control of the IRS. I'm glad to know somebody in federal government feels that he or she has control of some agency. So we'll come back to you with that. I'm sure it's going to show up in the minutes that you are in control.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, has anyone that served a government office ever been held accountable for their mistakes? Because he said that there's a possibility that they fall short on that, meaning that everyone else who makes less than $400,000 annually should expect to get taxed more. Now, I'm not saying that Americans should avoid taxes. That's just wrong, all right? Not saying that. But there are legal ways to get tax breaks, and it's really a matter of getting your research done on businesses and what you can do to save a lot of of money by possibly starting a business. You see, these officials, they can lie all they want. They can give all the false hope in the world. But I'm not one to answer back by trying to cheat the system, by trying to avoid taxes that I owe. That's not the path to success. It's always best to have your success defined by honesty and integrity. But on that note, the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration, or the watchdog for the IRS, has criticized the IRS for not having a clear definition of high income earners. So the watchdog says that the IRS uses the term way too loosely and that they continue to rely on old tax examination activity codes that were adopted back in 1976. What was the high income back then? $200,000. Now, with inflation the way that it is, do you feel as if that number is fair? And heck, we're not even sure if it's 100% accurate at this point, because they could just go ahead and change what rich means and then they'll be able to tax everyone at the bottom. Meanwhile, those at the top, well, they stay safe. It makes you think as if these agents are being put in place for the middle and lower class, because as the government continues to borrow trillions upon trillions of dollars, the IRS continues to feel pressured to catch up on taxes. In fact, the latest tax group numbers, this is basically the difference between taxes owed and paid to the government. It jumped from $601 billion to $688 billion.
A new IRS assessment estimates Americans failed to pay $688 billion in taxes on their 2021 returns. Now, the agency says around $77 billion of that was due to non-filing. So joining us now for more on this is Alex I'm Raskolnikov. I thought I'd mastered your name. I had said it like 4 times before. I'm so sorry, Professor. You're a professor of tax law at Columbia Law School. I had to say, when I saw we were talking about this, the first thing I did was look up how many corporations paid 0 taxes on their profits, because I thought, geez, like they're in compliance, right? Because there are ways for them to get around it, but it's really hard for the regular working stiff to get around paying your taxes. I was also surprised that only $77 billion was because of non-filing. Because usually, if you file your taxes and you owe, the IRS is coming to get you.
Right.
So why is there such a big gap? Why do Americans owe the IRS so much?
Well, thanks for having me. There are several reasons. One reason is that the IRS doesn't have enough resources to collect taxes that it already knows are due, and that's the $77 billion number you're talking about. The big problem there is that there aren't actually that many taxpayers who owe these taxes. These are people with very high incomes, over $1 million, over $10 million, and the IRS knows about them and still doesn't collect. And that's because it doesn't have enough resources. The other problem, bigger in terms of total numbers, is that some kinds of income are very hard to find. So people who pay salaries really have to comply because our employers withhold the money, they report our salaries to the IRS.
And I mean, we know for a fact that the federal government, this current administration, well, they're looking to spend, which means that the IRS will have to tax. But hey, maybe we're looking at this the wrong way. Maybe the IRS will actually do the right thing and keep its promise to actually provide Americans with some breathing room. Do you think that this is ever going to happen? Make sure you guys share your thoughts on that down below. And before I go, I just want to thank you guys so much for being here. Please keep safe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.